Might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Resting at the hills of Mount Fuji, a circuit that is all about legendary racing. It's week 6 on the Throttle Freaks GT3. My name is Stephen Koenig. Joining me in the commentary booth, Richard Swindells, Rob Campbell on cameras, and all our cameras supplied by TrackCams 22. Welcome to Throttle Freaks, welcome to week 6, and welcome to some incredible racing. And it's gonna be a very tight one. Halfway through the season, and we are in for a real treat as drivers look forward to fight their way through Fuji, a circuit that will test drivers whether they can keep the rhythm and fight it out. Next week we head over to Brands Hatch. Richard, welcome to Japan. Welcome to Mount Fuji. I know you've been testing some of the fine cuisine here. It opened in 1966.
Yeah, so far so good. Cuisine's all good, Steven. Fuji's going to be an exciting evening tonight. We've got that big, long straightaway and lots of technical sections, little off-camber corners here and there, some sausage curbs, and a big field of about 38 cars.
It's going to be a great one. The straightaway, as you mentioned, going to be a big slipstreaming point, but we've seen a couple of drivers during practice going and mounting the curbs a little bit too hard and getting a bit of a slip around the circuit, going and spinning out. Now, with that being said, the championship nearing its end and drivers looking to move forward, with at the moment Tyler Kato holds on to the lead of qualifying at this stage of the game. But let's take a look at our championship. For our pros, it's Joshua Chinsky, followed by Travis Newsom in second. Herbert Pineda holding on to third place, only 3 points ahead of Tyler Kato. And David Bush III holds on to the top 5.
Yeah, in the Pro-Am category, Felix Feliz has got a solid lead over Seb Gauthier in second. Jason Park close behind in third. Andrew Trickett and Jacob Figner rounding out your top 5.
And looking at Dave Jensen on 138 points with Ian Cabana on 126. Not much separating them, but a tie for third. It's Caleb Selner and David Morse. They're on 119, and Neil Alexander sits on 103.
And we've got teams though as well. In the teams championship, SRT Purple right now out to a 30-point lead over I-75 Motorsports. They've got themselves a 31-point lead over MadWorks Lunatics. And we have a Riot Motorsports, SRT White. They're pretty close together for 4th and 5th. Elaine Pipe, Craigie Esports, SG Esports, SRT Black, and Parabolic Azure, all rounding out the top 10.
And with our cameras in tow, also a bit of show of VR. Not often we get to see that getting shown on the screen. And a little bit of a different look from a physical rig and a virtual side as well. Gotta say, Fuji, a incredible circuit. However, it is going to be a tough one. Ian Cabana looking to move his way forward. And I think he has the best advantage utilizing the VR. He's able to look into the apexes. These corners can be rather blind, and it's always helpful to be able to turn your head, look for the apex, and get on the power as soon as possible. Gotta say, a little bit jealous to see the VR in absolute best neck there.
That's quite the nice camera angle. I raced for about a year in VR. I really liked it, and but I started doing some more endurance racing, and I just found the triples worked a little better for me for that. Speaking of our in-car cameras, Matt Mars, as always, driving in the three-dimensional world of reality, I guess, in the sim world, and not VR. Always nice to see a look from the cockpit view of Matt Mars' rig.
You can also see the graph on the steering wheel of throttle and brake inputs. That's always handy to have. A little bit different to going and having your gears on the steering. Matt Mars hoping to move forward. James Hand looking as calm as ever, currently lying in 15th position in the McLaren, and that's something we do need to bring up. After the recent updates, BOP changes, drivers getting a free change for their cars, and we got to see a little bit different. Lots of Porsches, lots of Ferraris kicking around. James Hand deciding he's going all the way into the McLaren. Tyler currently sits in his Porsche looking to move forward, and with Travis Newsom now up into first place, Tyler into second, the two of them helping each other along and utilizing a bit of slipstreaming to move forward ahead of William Friesen.
Yeah, the I-75 Motorsports team currently sitting in second place, trying to close that gap down a little bit to the SRT team, and doing a good job of doing some good team driving and qualifying.
David Bush III, MadWorks Lunatics, ahead of his teammate Matt Scherf, who holds on to 8th place at the moment. And unfortunately, one of our spinners further back, the Ferrari 296, going and getting twisted around. Matt hoping that he can close up to his teammate. William Friesen, unfortunately, not going to be improving this lap round. Currently holds on to 3rd place, ahead of Herbert Pineda, who's going to be right on the back of him. David Morse of the SLT Black team, hoping to get a stellar drive. Currently just sits out of the top 10, but first in the GT3 AM class.
Yeah, David Morse, he should be up there in the season points championship. He's a little bit further behind than he wanted. Had a little bit of an unfortunate early incident, not his fault last week. So looking for a little bit of revenge, and definitely demonstrating some solid pace.
Some great lap times. Felix Feliz, keep an eye on the Mustang. So far been finding his feet getting quicker and quicker. I've got to say, one of the drivers that we got to keep a solid look at, as he wants to take the fight all the way to the pro field. Unfortunately, Jack Polyak going and landing up, breaking his car in qualifying, and that's pretty much going to run out of time. 1 minute and 37 seconds left. Can you believe the track is 60 years old, but still incredibly challenging, and was actually designed originally for an oval, but landed up as a bit more of a fun circuit. It is partly cloudy, 44 degrees Celsius on track, so it is very slippery out there. 19 degrees air temperature means that you're going to have a fun time trying to slow these cars down and really maximize the pace.
Yeah, that, especially at the end of that long 1.475 kilometer straightaway, that's 9/10 of a mile there, folks. So very long straightaway. Just take a look at Andy Mills getting out using all the curb and then just a little bit more is coming through this little technical section of the track. Finishing it off and getting down on that straightaway, you really want to maximize your corner exit. And ideally, be in draft range of somebody ahead of you, because if you're not going to have a chance to set a good time. But Andy Mills doing quite well right now, sitting second in AM right now, just one spot behind David Morris, sitting in 12th right now.
Good lap time for him. Last lap was a 140.5, just slightly off his quickest of a 140.1. Andy trying to really pull himself along, trying to get into the top 10, but as you pointed out, it's all about getting into the slipstream, pull yourself along, but you got to remember not to outbrake yourself at the end, getting into turn one. Jay Staffy going and moving forward. He's lying in 5th place at the moment, ahead of his teammates Jason Park and Dale Peterson, who holds on to 12th position at the moment. Top 10 running for our drivers. Colin McKenzie out in the Acura holds on to the top 5 and first in the GT3 Pro-Am. One driver that hasn't opted to swap his cars. He's more comfortable with the Acura, pulling into the pit lane, getting it all sorted out. And that's where I do want to bring up pit lane here at the base of Mount Fuji Speedway. How difficult is it to get the car into the pits, and slowing it down being the big problem? I find a lot of drivers tend to go a little too quick, and unfortunately you can pick up those drive-through penalties.
Yeah, and you got to be careful about your, not just your speed, the line you take, because if you get offline, and you're going to take a penalty for an unsafe entry. So I happen to have that happen to me in a league race one time in previous seasons, and we don't want to see any drivers doing that. So hopefully they've all practiced their pit entry. It could be a little bit tricky here at Fuji.
Either get it completely right or go down in style. Is that what you're saying?
That's it.
Well, at the moment, a couple of drivers trying to get that last little bit. Doug Evans comes across the line and unfortunately unable to improve. James Hand out in the McLaren trying to just keep it rather tight. Unfortunately, no improvement. Neil Alexander comes across the line heading into turn one. Fortunately, no improvement from his side, but it's Cesar Jimenez that sits in 11th position. He managed to improve his lap time with a 140.028. But qualifying out of the way, drivers look forward to the race as we get ready to rock and roll here at Fuji Speedway with a beautiful sight of Mount Fuji. The circuit is going to challenge our drivers, and let's see who will be able to climb up through the order. It's all about who can dive into turn one, get ahead of the pack, and we're expecting to see 4 cars wide if things get a little bit hairy.
Yeah, I know the stewards in the race briefing we're a little concerned about people going 3 and 4 wide on lap 1 through the first few corners. But it's kind of unavoidable when you've got a 38 car field and everybody wants to move up, and that straightaway is very, very wide.
Oh, you say don't do it, sounds like a challenge, and these drivers are going to do everything they can for it. But that being said, let's take a look to our grid. It's Travis Newson out ahead of his teammate Tyler Coutu, who holds on to 2nd place. William Friesen holds on to 3rd with Herbert Pineda in 4th. They're getting tailed on row 3 by Jay Steffi and Colin McKenzie in P6. David Bush the 3rd in 7th with Felix Feliz leading out his class, holds on to P8. Pete Mejia in 9th with Seb Gutierrez in 10th position on row 5.
Yeah, in row 6 we've got Cesar Jimenez and Andrew Trickett. Row 7, P13, David Morse, Andy Mills in P14. Andrew Venaro's in 15th, Jason Park in 16th. We've got Caleb Lehman in 17th with James Hand, P18. Matt Scherf and Sean Provo round out top 20.
21st, we got Kevin Bergquist and Ian Cabana in 22nd. As our drivers taking a look. Kevin hoping to keep ahead of his teammate, but it's Dave Jensen in 23rd with Jordan Spoon in 24th. Dale Peterson and Doug Evans holds on for row 13. Justin Welsh, Neil Alexander for row 14. Heading into row 15, it's Caleb Selner, Marcus Gaddy in 30th.
Yeah, in 31st place, Chris Loam and Jack Boyack. Row 17, we have Robert Jeffries and Andrew Ellis. Row 18, Barry Cochran and Matt Mars. And rounding out the field tonight, we've got Jordan Walker and Drew DeWeese. And we got through them all, Stephen, as the pace car is just leaving on a short pace lap here at Fuji.
It's all about warming up the brakes and the tires, because you're going to have to bring it to a grinding halt into turn 1. You can see the drivers just trying to do a little bit of brake drag, a little bit of moving left to right, building up as much heat into the tires and brakes as possible as our safety car leads out the field. Nerves on end, drivers looking to move forward. And I've got to say, Richard, we're in for an absolute treat. Fuji has always been one of these circuits that can either treat you right, or you're going to land up sitting and watching the races from the sidelines. And at the front of the field, Travis and Tyler, the two teammates of the I-75, looking to fight it out and see who will remain at the top.
Yeah, and I expect Travis Newsom and Tyler Cato to do a good job of team driving here. I think they've gone through the scenario in their heads and knowing what they want to do to make sure they cover off William Fence and Herbert Pineda and behind them. Man, that's a hungry group of cars. They're warming up, and Travis Newsom's taking control of the field.
As our safety car will be peeling into the pits, it's going to be all eyes to the lights. Safety car out of the way, drivers at the ready. Everyone's nerves absolutely on end, and let's see if the stewards manage to bring some calm to the storm as they get underway in racing. Travis and Tyler running nose to tail, and it's a Jordan Spoon, unfortunately out of position, will get a drive-through penalty as they dive towards turn 1. Late on the anchors, Travis leading out the field with Tyler right on his tail. William Fenson and Herbert Pineda tailing in for 3rd and 4th. Colin McKenzie moving up into 5th position as it's 3 wide. Justin Welsh going and getting the inside line. He was able to get a stellar drive, but is getting absolutely hunted down by the pack.
Yeah, Justin Welsh and Chris Lum got into it, I believe, a little bit earlier, but so far, so good. Drivers taking the steward's advice and getting off to a clean start. Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato, William Fenson, Herbert Pineda, still 1-4 just as they started. Colin McKenzie's moved up 1. He's up to 5th place. Man, look at the crazy train of cars we've got here, Stephen. This is just insane.
And I do want to point out, so far, no rough contacts. Drivers keeping it rather clean and neat as we nearing the end of lap 1. Drivers still trying to figure out what they can do to move up through the order, and we are seeing a few outbraking themselves.
Yeah, going 3 wide through the chicane's not going to work, but here's the most difficult part of the track, I think, right here. This little section here between 15 and 16, a little off-camber corner. I'd expect to see some cars maybe have some difficulties, but no difficulties at all for Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato, actually anybody in the top 10. Looks like everybody getting through there cleanly. Stellar first lap here at Fuji from these drivers. But the teammates, the I-75 of Motorsports teammates, doing a great job. Tyler Cato about 1.2 seconds now ahead of Herbert Pineda. So teammates working together, trying to pull off a 1-2 lead and separate themselves from the pack.
Well, we did talk a little bit too soon, as we did have one car go all the way down the field, and that's William Fenson, who was in the Ferrari, and that was Herbert Pineda, unfortunately getting out of control, trying to turn himself around, now in the Porsche instead of the Lamborghini, and now having to wait for the field to come on by, gently trying to turn the car around. Wait, it is absolutely terrible. And there is William coming by. Let's quickly take a look at it, heading into turn 1. Down the gears, goes into turn 1, gently onto the power, and unfortunately just losing the tail end of the car. No impact.
Yeah, Lambo wouldn't have done that. Lambo wouldn't have done that. Porsche's doing Porsche things there to poor Herbert Pineda, but Tyler Cato continuing to follow along behind his teammate Travis Newsom. They've made that gap now 1 3/4 seconds over Colin McKenzie. Did I say that right? Yes, folks. Colin McKenzie up to third, up 3 positions.
Solid drive on his part, but getting chased down. Jay right on the back of him, seeing if he can try and look for any opportunity to get on by. He loses the rear. Jay now waiting for the field to come on by. Porsche doing Porsche things, as he said.
Yeah, he wasn't driving a Porsche last week, and he wasn't doing that last week. Poor Jay, he was solidly fast in practice. I believe he had the fastest practice time and solidly in qualifying. Fortunately, it happened on a part of the track where he didn't lose too many positions, unlike Herbert Pineda, and he's back going now and seeing what he can do to do a little bit of recovery now.
Bit of a side draft as well to move forward. Caleb Lieben holding on to 11th position at the moment, trying to move his way up through the order, sitting behind the 77 and hoping that he can just utilize that toe. Cesar Jimenez holds on to the top 10, but it's the SRT team that will be chatting to one another to try and identify what can they do to move forward as an ongoing fight. Andy Mills and Andrew Trickett going and having a go at one another further up the field, and unfortunately it does look like Andrew going and losing a bit of drive, as now Andy Mills around the outside switches back to the inside looking for any opportunity, and it's a big look for the 77. Jimenez trying his luck. Oh, it looks like a bit of contact.
Yeah, Trickett's not going to be too happy with that, and he's stuck there. He's just going to have to wait and wait and wait until all this train of cars comes around before he can get that car back underway. Take a little replay here. Andy Mills on Andrew Trickett. Right now, just a little bit of braking, and it's hard to tell whether he started to go around first before Mills got into him. Looked pretty close, almost like the back end was coming around on Trickett there.
Just a little bit of assistance to try and help. If you're going to spin, do a spin properly. Let me give you a hand. Oh, and a big jump for Colin McKenzie, showing the bottom of his car, mounted the curbs and lost a serious amount of drive. Was able to get it back on all 4 wheels, but doing wheelies with the GT3 car, don't think is the quickest method. Loses out the top of the GT3 Pro-Am field to Felix Feliz.
Yeah, there's another Felix Feliz making that pass there. Going down the inside, David Bush, the third teammate of Colin McKenzie, and behind him, we saw him do a nice wheelie in practice as well. So teammates practicing those wheelies and doing quite well at them. Not the fastest way around the track as we take a look at Felix Feliz and David Bush, the third, going through turn 1. Right now, that's going to give David Bush, the third, the inside line coming up here to the next corner. We'll see how brave they are on the brakes. This is a kind of a wide sweeping corner. Felix Feliz giving way. That lets Colin McKenzie get back up to third place. Colin McKenzie gaining that space back that he lost earlier. So now we've got David Bush the third and Felix Feliz battling. David Bush the third on the inside, getting that move done. Felix Feliz gets into the back of him a little bit. Right now, everybody driving through cleanly, though. Nobody's spinning. Felix Feliz got Pete Mejia all over him now. So great battles here in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th spot.
And Seb waiting in the wings as well as Pete dives for the inside line, and it's going to be a tight one. It looks like it is going to be Pete to keep it all together. David Bush, the third, managing to get the drive, and Seb trying the outside line. It is nose to tail. Felix Feliz having to fight left, right, and center at this point just to try and keep his position. Pete Mejia looks around the outside. Seb Gautier as well, trying to see where can he get the opportunity. Running in this train, you've got to try and figure out where can you get a little bit of pace. Seb, a little bit of late braking, has to run out wide, killing the drive as they get onto the main straight.
Yeah, I expected 3 wide in that chicane on lap 1, but not on lap 4, folks. These drivers are giving it everything they got. David Bush, the third, up 3 positions. Teammate Colin McKenzie had up 3 positions. So right now, David Bush, the third, leading this big train with Felix Feliz, Pete Mejia, Gautier, and Park all behind. Having some great battles. Nothing going to be happening on this corner, I don't think, though. Everybody separated out just a little bit. You're going to want to tighten it up as we take a look at our in-car cameras. Travis Newsom and Tyler Cato still having a great lead. These teammates working well together, up 5.5 seconds on the rest of the field.
But Tyler holding the fastest lap time of the race at the moment. David Morse takes a look down the inside, trying to see if he can get a bit of a pass done to Matt Scherf, who managed to get the drive out of the corner. David Morse now having to fight against Welsh, who is absolutely hunting him down, looking to try and get past. Andrew Venaro, who is getting a stellar drive, now needs to keep it all together. Can David Morse keep himself alive at this stage of the game? It's going to be a bit of a tough one. It's going to be who's late on the brakes in contact.
Oh, no!
Not quite what Andrew wanted to have, and David Morse as well. Unfortunately, picking up an incident point or two into the hairpin.
Yeah, that was rather unfortunate, but Venaro trying to get himself back on track, but stay out of the way of the traffic. Take a little look at the replay. Venaro was already as far out as he could go. I don't think Morse realized he was there, because Morse kept pushing outside, and Venaro was, had nowhere else to go.
Just going and utilizing all the circuit plus more. Dave Jensen now trying to keep up the pace as the field still right on top of one another. Still trying to push a little bit forward. Marcus Gaddy behind him, trying to keep in tow, as we do see Venaro aiming towards pit lane. It looks like he's going to get himself sorted out and get that pit stop done, dusted, and carry on with the race, trying to get out of any sort of traffic.
Yeah, we take a look at these cars, and nose to tail, folks. Big line of cars. We had 37. Drew Deweese did not take the green flag, so he was out early, never made the show, but 37 cars. And we still have 37 cars running, so that's kind of like what we want to see here. Great racing here at Throttle Freaks tonight at Fuji.
Now, Richard, I've got to ask, this is a circuit that you said you quite enjoy. It's rather fun, but with our drivers needing to consider their pit stops, when would be the right time? We've seen a mixture of different strategies throughout the season. Now it's a recent change to the BOP. When do you think will be the right time to get into the pits? And also that you're not losing out on any slipstream.
Well, if you're Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato, you come into the pits when you have no more fuel left in the tank. When you got a 6-second gap, you don't want to get stuck in traffic. So I think if unless you're being held up by somebody, you come in as late as possible. But we'll see what these drivers do. I mean, consequently, if somebody's ahead of you, slowing you down, get into the pits, or you have a little bit of damage you want to get repaired, get in the pits as soon as that window opens. As we take a look at Matt Mars, currently 29th place. He's up 7 positions. Oh, and big jump off the curb. Matt Mars, I think, has had enough.
Yeah, going and towing back to pits there. Unfortunately, not quite what he wanted to have, and needing a little bit of a nose job as well. Andy Mills trying to make up a bit of time. Felix Feliz going and holding on to 2nd place in the GT3 Pro-Am class. He's on David Bush, the 3rd back, who is got a stellar drive. Lamborghini quick out of the corners, and Felix trying to keep an eye on the mirrors as well, not wanting to get pushed off the racing line, trying to utilize every inch of the circuit to close down the distance. But Pete Mejia just holding, waiting for his opportunity to get on by, as our Pro-Am field still rather close to one another, with everyone having an opportunity to possibly move up in towards the podium positions.
Yeah, top 5 in Pro-Am are occupying spaces from 3rd to 8th, so solid showing, and an amateur in 9th in Andy Mills, so great going. Jay Steffi sitting now down in 12th after that little Porsche spin earlier, but Steffi, oh, do you see how aggressive he's being on corner entry there, letting everybody know he's there, letting Cesar Jimenez know, letting Caleb Lehman know that, hey, I want to get back up where I was, guys, give me some space. But they're battling their own battles up ahead.
And you also got James Hand, who's right on the back of him, chasing down in the McLaren. Recently switched out to the car. He's hoping that it's going to work out in his favor. He's got Matt Sheriff right behind him, also in tow, as the drivers into the main straight yet again. 33 minutes left in this race. Nose to tail racing, up and down, and it doesn't look like anywhere around the circuit there's a bit of breathing room. Drivers trying everything they can to maximize the points, maximize the drive. And now heading towards turn 1. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? As it doesn't look like anyone's going to be taking a big dive, all waiting for the opportunity. Caleb Lieben keeping a very close eye on his mirrors, as Jimenez going and making a very aggressive drive under braking, seeing if he can close up to that Mercedes, but just not having the run out of the corners.
Yeah, you got to get the corner exit just right in order to make any gains. And I mean, if the driver ahead of you does the same as you, you're kind of stuck in a little bit of a draft train right now. but a little bit of a battling in behind there. Jay Steffi continuing to apply pressure here to Cesar Jimenez and letting Caleb Lehman kind of walk away a little bit from them. Drivers starting to separate out a little bit. They want to make sure they stay in draft range though, because that draft is Jay Steffi been late on the brakes last time through here. A little bit later this time. I think he may have just given a little nudge to Jimenez to let him know, hey, come on, let's get going, let's catch up to the guys ahead of us.
He's sticking in the draft, just really close into it. Just double checking if the draft's still there. Ian Cabana a little bit further down, started in 22nd, up to 18th. Unfortunately, got a little bit of room ahead of him, trying to make up some ground at the moment. And Ian hoping to get a stellar drive out in VR, having a ton of fun out there. Oh, bit of a take slap. No. Unfortunately, she goes round and clips into the wall. Not quite what he wants. Looks over to his left-hand side to see if there's enough room. And unfortunately, not an easy drive back. Tires dirty, nose a little bit bent, and now needs to try and get himself going. And the painful part is down this main straightaway, trying to get yourself back up to speed.
Yeah, we call that the commentator's cursor. Porsche's doing Porsche's thing, but that wasn't a Porsche, and we didn't choose that. That was the producer chose that shot, folks. We take a look here. Jack Polyak getting passed there by Herbert Pineda. Herbert Pineda on a recovery run. He went basically to last. I mean, he was up in the top 4, went all the way to the last place position on lap 1, all the way back up to 22nd right now.
William Fenson also lost it in lap 1. He's tailing in 24th position, seeing if he can get past Jack, and looks like he might have a little bit of damage on the front right on his Ferrari, and it does look to be a little bit of a bend there, so trying to get himself sorted out. And going to be feeling a bit of understeer creeping in as well. Not exactly how you want your race to go, but good to see him still out there, still fighting his way through this race. Not going to be caught out, but definitely straight line is not going to be something he has at this stage of the game, needing a bit of repair work when he gets into the pits.
Yeah, that all said, I mean, his last lap was faster than Tyler Cato, who is in second, so I don't know how much that damage is costing him in terms of pace, because William Fenson still has a great pace. Taking a look here at Kevin Bergquist, Ian Cabana's teammate in this time in the Pro-Am category. Bergquist up 5 positions on the day, folks. So Bergquist having a solid effort, looking for a little bit more. He's got David Morris up ahead of him, trying to hunt him down. And Bergquist has a Provo in behind him. So nice little battle in the mid-pack.
And the SRT team going and just putting him in a nice little bit of a sandwich, and Kevin Bergquist hoping to just get a little bit later on the brakes. Sees David Morse has got a little bit of damage to the rear left of the car, and hoping to get a bit of a crikey send on David Morse. Unfortunately, not close enough. Jordan Spoon diving into the pits to get himself sorted out. 29 minutes left in this race, and Jordan Spoon, the first, I would say, planned pit stop by the looks of it. Up, tires going to be changed, the tires getting put on. It is a rather warm circuit at the moment, but an interesting call on his part.
Yeah, hopefully he only took fronts, or else that's going to cost him any chance of anything. We'll take a look at his pit time. He's in there for quite a while. I think he's taken all 4 tires, or he's fixing some damage. And Jordan Spoon is going to fall way back. Only other person who's coming to the pits is Matt Mars, who towed and called it a night. So first regular pit stops is in. We're going to continue on with the live racing, though. Matt Scherf up to 14th place. Madworks Lunatics. Madworks Lunatics team having a good solid effort tonight. So right now, Scherf 14th. He's falling behind James Hand in 13th. And look at that, we got 10 cars lined up, pretty much nose to tail down the straightaway.
Now, I've got to ask, Richard, considering the circuit is really quick and you're constantly on the power, this must be extremely heavy on the tires, and also with the temperature playing a huge factor as well. You went and mentioned only swapping out the fronts instead of doing all 4. Would you rather not go and get that done, as William Fenson is going to be the next car to dive into the pit lane? What would be your game plan in terms of tire usage?
I'm not the best person at tire saving or tire strategy, to be honest with you, Stephen. I'll defer to people with a little more knowledge than me, but I would expect to see maybe a couple of the drivers or a few of the drivers try and take a front side tires. Take a look at Fenson coming in early for his pit. Might be taking a little bit of a repair of damage. We'll see if he goes up on the stands. No, it looks like Fenson's staying down. Jordan Spoon, I think he's going to be a several laps down if we see him return at all. But maybe front tires, probably not. Front tires really don't cost you much except for that first lap and a half of warming them back up.
Going and trying to utilize a little bit of the NASCAR method. Just replace one tire, don't worry about the others. It costs too much. Tyler holding on to second place at the moment behind his teammate Newsom, having a stellar drive out there, but Tyler still holds the fastest lap time of the race, a 139.398 as his best, as they will be coming across the line. Both still running in the 139s. It's absolutely incredible to see how consistent they are. And both drivers working with one another. A little bit of a big closing speed. Tyler having to really use that engine braking not to climb into the back of his teammate.
Yeah, they've got almost a 10-second lead over third place. We take a look here. Pete Mejia is sending it up on the inside of Felix Feliz. Oh my goodness, Jason Park getting him in the mix too. Pete Mejia had him covered off. I don't think any of the two drivers up ahead were expecting Jason Park to close it in that much, but Jason Park, loving what he's seeing up ahead of him. Jason Park getting right in there right now. Jason Park, a little tap on Pete Mejia, going around the outside through this carousel here. Felix Feliz liking what he's seeing back behind him. Lets him relax just a little bit for the next corner, get things back in line. We've got the 5 cars now all battling. The 2 SRT cars getting into the mix there in Seb Gauthier and Andy Mills.
Well, to quote a bit of a one from Monty Python, you never expect the Spanish Inquisition. I think that can change to you never can expect the Riot team to go and get it down on the inside, as it's a great drive on Jason's drive to get a little bit closer. Unfortunately, Andy Mills right there in the wings as well, trying to see if he can move forward. Herbert Pineda on the bottom right also trying to move up through the order after a bit of a nightmare start. Slowly but surely trying to keep up the consistency and see if he can raise himself back up through the order. He's got Dave Jensen, who's got a solid drive and making that Mercedes twice as wide as it actually is, as he a little bit sideways. Herbert dives down the inside. It's going to be a drag race, and looks like Pineda more than happy to get the drive. Goes around the outside, tries to slam the door shut. Dave Jensen having to get off the power.
Yeah, Herbert Pineda obviously demonstrating the great pace. I think Dave Jensen didn't put up too much of a fight there. I was a little worried watching Herbert come around there, because if you get out wide onto those yellow curbing, that's going to cause the car to catch some air. Herbert Pineda just getting it tucked in just in time. Dave Jensen tucking up in behind him, getting the draft, trying to keep that gap as little as possible, because he's got about 2.5 seconds to Marcus Gatti in behind him. Doesn't want to let Marcus get any closer.
At the moment, leading out our pro field is Newsom, Pro-Am McKenzie, and Am is Andy Mills. Marcus Gatti going and trying to see if he can keep up the pace. He's got Andrew Venaro coming at him at a rate of knots. We saw Venaro landing up in a little bit of a scuffle earlier in the race, and now trying to see if he can get past Marcus, looking towards the inside, second guessed it, late on the brakes, closing up, just trying to see where can he find this gap. Unfortunately, not getting the corner exits right, and that's costing him a bit of time. Started in 15th, down to 23rd after the light contact he had heading into the hairpin right here. But Andrew still keeping a stellar effort at the moment, and hoping he can keep in that slipstream, and seeing if he can move forward with 23 minutes left on the clock. Drivers still have got plenty time to move up through the order. For those maybe trying to save a bit of fuel.
Those were the curves I was talking about there, Stephen. Oh, we see another one. You get on those yellow ones, and these cars weren't necessarily made for driving on the back 2 wheels, but they seem to do okay at it. So we take a look at James Hand. James Hand having a good battle here with Matt Scherf. Side-by-side action. James Hand on the inside. Matt Scherf on the inside. James Hand on the outside. Oh, the over-under, the crossover happening. That's going to be a good little battle going into turn 3 now.
Who is going to be last on the brakes? James Hand, not looking too stressed here. There goes and waits out as Matt gets the drive, closes the door, and now James having to sit in the slipstream. as you pointed out, the car's not so good on the rear wheels. Maybe a bit of a wheelie bar needed on the back. Go towards drag racing.
Yeah, it looks like they almost look like some top fuel dragsters going down there, funny cars, but it's a good, very good point. Matt Sheriff doing a good job. A little further up, this battle's been going on for quite some time here. We got Seb Goche and Felix Feliz, and up ahead, Jason Park. So Felix Feliz, going right down in a little bit of a spin. Felix Feliz falling very quickly, unfortunately for Felix Feliz.
Unfortunately, catching the back of Seb's car, Seb got it out of shape, and it just created a huge contact and a huge concertina. Take a look at this. Seb down the inside, trying to get the pass done. Felix goes and keeps his nose forward. Unfortunately, Seb closes the door on him, and it just makes things rather interesting. Jay going in and avoiding some of the carnage, and the SRT team having to take a big evasive maneuver. Unfortunately, Felix Feliz, the biggest loser from that fight, had his nose forward. Unfortunately, got the door slammed on him. Pretty much like putting your foot in the door and getting it slammed on your foot. Painful. You wait it out, and now you got to try and see what happens. But the tire's definitely going to feel it.
Yeah, while that was going on, Tyler Cato got by Travis Newsom. So the team drivers doing a little switch over here. I'm not sure if this was a battle so much as a strategy, and that lets Cato take over. Maybe Newsom could do a little fuel saving for the second half of this, or the remainder of this fuel stint.
Nice, easy drive, and good to have your teammates around. Caleb Lehman, however, not going to be too happy with his teammate in front of him. Seb, a little bit slow on the corner exit, and you can see Caleb Lehman just trying to close up the distance. They have got Jimenez right in front of them, but a little bit of a late braking from Caleb Lehman, a little adjustment on the headset as well, just trying to see where he can move forward. And with those big googly eyes, I think it's going to be as wide as dinner plates as he brakes hard behind Seb.
Yeah, it must be really hard to see where you're going with the eyes spinning like that all the time, but Caleb Lehman doing a good job nonetheless, in spite of his vision impairment, I'll call it. Seb Goche, with that little incident with Felix Feliz earlier, dropping down a little bit. He's back to 10th where he started, having some good battles though. Matt Sheriff continuing to battle along with James Hand. James Hand has not given up that position easily. Looks like James Hand got a really, really good exit there. See if he's got enough here to make a move on Sheriff as we come down this very long, about a kilometer and a half straightaway, basically. We're going to round it off for my mathematical purposes. James Hand applying some pressure now. Is he going to tuck it up the inside? He's going to move down the inside. He's going to have to brake really, really late, though, because Sheriff's still ahead at this stage. Hand sending it deep, 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 and managing to get the car slowed down. Sheriff, though, going around the outside, but it looks like James Hand with some stellar late braking, getting that position back.
One of those bleeded off the brakes early and hold on for dear life. Herb Pineda going around the outside, trying to get the run. Felix Feliz giving him plenty of room as the two now slip into the slipstream of one another. Once again, it is two different classes. Pineda sits in the Pro with Felix Feliz in the Pro-Am, trying to pull himself back up through the order after an earlier spin. Both drivers just seeing what can they do to catch up to Selner further upfield.
Usually we're not used to seeing Herbert and Felix Feliz in the mid-pack. We're used to seeing them up near the pointy end. But those drivers are going to battle hard. Speaking of battling hard, David Bush the third, and his teammate just ahead, Colin McKenzie, who is in third. So Colin McKenzie and David Bush III having a great race. You know who else is having a great race? Pete Mejia in the Porsche right behind him. Pete Mejia, he's in 5th place, up 4 positions. Behind them, Jason Park, up 10 positions. So some stellar moves by all these drivers.
Now Pete hoping to keep in the slipstream. Doesn't quite have the same horsepower underneath his right foot that Boxer 6 versus the V10, but the slipstream proving to be rather strong. Looks for the inside, late on the brakes. Can he get it done? David Bush III a little bit earlier on the brakes, hoping for a bit of a cutback, but it's going to be Pete to slow it down on the apex. More than happy to take the position. Pete up into 4th. David Bush down into 5th. And now trying to see what he can do. Neil Alexander diving into pit lane. Starting to see more and more cars looking about that pits. And it's going to be a bit of a wild one as well, as we're about to see things get rather exciting. Neil Alexander into the pits, 17 minutes to go. Drivers trying to fuel save as much as they can, but it's going to be a late pit stop for the field.
Yeah, it definitely is. The later they go, I think the better it is for most of these drivers, and they're going to eke out as much as they can out of those fuel cells. Sean Provo currently 16th, started 20th. He's looking at the back of it, David Morse. So right now the SRT teammates, David Morse kind of is the ringleader of the SRT training sessions week to week. So we got Sean Provo, David Morse having a good little battle through the chicane. Just up ahead of them, though, is the Cranky Motorsports car.
Caleb Selner, as we saw, is tied in the points, so he's looking to maximize everything he can in the GT3 amp to try and move up through the order. Not having too much of a problem. It's a Ferrari all the way down, 4 cars in a row. And I've got to say, the horses running in tow, the herd having an easier time out there.
Yeah, that said, 7 of our top 10 cars tonight, Porsches. Something we're not used to seeing necessarily in GT3 racing with Throttle Freaks. Big look, more drivers coming into pits. Is Caleb Selner coming down pit lane. He's going for his regular fuel. I would expect that would probably be about all he's going to do right now as the Parabol Azure driver coming down pit lane. Colin McKenzie still in 3rd. Pete Mejia in 4th. A solid effort. We've got Pro-Am. So 1-2, and good hard battling. Colin McKenzie using all the track, a little bit extra. May have got an off-track penalty. Pete Mejia trying a little better line, but McKenzie continuing to maintain that lead.
Fighting out for first in class as Mejia able to close down under braking, really quite rapid onto the back of Colin McKenzie, trying to utilize every little bit of the circuit. You paid for it, so got to use all of it, and we've seen him go and put it on 2 wheels a little bit earlier. He's trying to keep the drive, but Mejia is keeping him rather honest at the moment, not able to break away. Colin McKenzie getting a little bit sideways. Thankfully, he's got his teammate, David Bush III, able to keep a little bit of pressure as well. Tyler pulling into the pits, along with Newsom, our leaders, now into pit lane. Will the rest of the field come through? It did look like McKenzie wants to try, but has opted to keep going.
Yeah, that's gonna, I think that may bring Tyler Cato and Travis Newsom into some traffic. We've got a couple more drivers coming into pit lane. Probably we've got Jay Steffi, Cesar Jimenez, Matt Sherfall into pit lane. But you know what that it does? That lets Colin McKenzie assume control of this race, take the lead. Colin McKenzie on point now. Pete Mejia in 2nd. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all of these drivers still having to pit, but for now, Colin McKenzie's leading this train around.
And Pete showing some massive pace. And I've got to just say, the absolute respect that these drivers have got for one another, giving enough room just to go and keep it all together. There's just no big elbows out, huge fighting, a huge amount of fisticuffs. They keep it clean, they're keeping it together. And the drivers, we've had some little bit of paintwork shared between cars, but nothing too hectic.
I think that's one nice thing with the Throttle Freaks GT3 Racing League. The race stewards set the expectations. The race director lets the racers know what is allowable, what is not, and they enforce it. And the drivers take heed to that, and that's why you see such great, clean racing here. Colin McKenzie having a stellar drive, continuing to maintain that lead over Pete Mejia, Dave Bush III, and Jason Park. Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato, they cycle back out. They're 13th and 14th. We'll see what happens now. Are these drivers coming into the pits, or do they have extra large tanks? Well, you know who's coming down. Colin McKenzie continuing to go down low. Looks like they're diving in now. Everybody's coming in here. Well, not everybody, I think. It looks like Jason Park stayed out. So Jason Park got that sponge in the bottom of that tank, squeezing it everything he can get.
Just taking a look at Colin McKenzie, it was a late decision. I think he was keeping an eye on Pete Mejia in the rearview mirror and saying, are you getting in? Are you waiting? Are we going to pit? And it was okay. Once he saw Pete diving into the pits, opted to try and throw the car in as well. Jason Park now assumes the lead of the race, with Lehman in second, with Newsom back out ahead of Tyler Cato, who holds on to fourth. Polyak up into fifth position, up 27 positions from the start of the race, still needing to get his pit stop done and dusted. Colin McKenzie ahead of Pete Mejia. David Bush the third into 8th position at the moment. Andy Mills, Seb, Herb Pineda, but it does look like it's going to be Jay Staffy up into 9th. Andy Mills holding on to that top 10.
Yeah, well, that's gone. We'll see how far ahead Tyler Cato and oh my God, Tyler Cato is having a stellar race. These two teammates, Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato, we'll see how far ahead they are of the rest of the field once we get through the next lap, because Jason Park and Caleb Lehman, Jack Polyak can't go forever. Colin McKenzie down pit lane.
Some great camera angles, and oh, Travis Newsom trying to keep it all together at the moment. Tyler putting a bit of pressure. It looks like, if you had to call it papaya rules, that doesn't really much work here. The I-75 Motorsports have gone from working with each other to looks like an out brawl, as Tyler trying to see if he can get underneath his teammate.
Yeah, I think they're having a little bit of fun right now. They're racing hard, but I don't think either of them is going to put each other at risk of taking each other out. Not with the lead they've got at this stage of the race. Take a look here. Travis Newsom and Tyler Cato, they're going to assume lead here once they cross the pit lanes, because everybody has done their regular scheduled stop now. Yeah, there they go. Tyler Cato is going past Travis Newsom, and Travis Newsom says, "Okay, your turn. We'll battle it out in another 10.5 minutes." Oh, whoa! So much for papaya rules. That almost looked like, oh my goodness, that looked like Oscar getting dinged by Lando there.
That was a Scud missile coming in at a rate of knots. Tyler nearly having Travis going and checking the gearbox and seeing what the serial numbers are on the third gear at that point.
Oh my goodness. They're still battling hard here. Is Jason Park doing a solid job, still holding fourth place behind Colin McKenzie. Travis Newsom, Tyler Cato checked out. Travis Newsom 13 seconds ahead of Colin McKenzie, so the battle is for third place on the podium and first place on the podium, because the two teammates are going to decide who wins, and these drivers, I think, here are going to decide who gets the third spot, unless we see another incident like we did last lap between Cato and Newsom.
Hopefully not, but Pete Mejia trying to really close down under braking. More than happy to try and use as much engine braking as possible. Pete Mejia is not afraid to bring right down to the last braking board, and unfortunately for Dave Jensen, off into the weeds, now trying to get himself up and going. Let's quickly take a look at the replay. This is into turn 1, swings the car around, steering lightens up underneath him, early on the power and over the curbing. And oh, solid bump against the nose. Not quite what you want to do. Laying pipe lunatics, laying a little bit too much rubber down on the circuit.
Yeah, take a look here. Barry Cochran is sending it in real deep in this replay here. Barry Cochran, is he going to get the cutback though? It looks like Cochran's going to lose that position, but he's not. Yeah, he sent it, but that's unfortunate. If you don't get it slowed down enough, the very next corner you're going to lose that position you just gained.
Now he's got Chris Lum all on the back of him as well. The two Ford Mustangs now having to brawl it out, and Barry having a difficult time out there trying to slow the car down. I wonder if the tires are starting to drop off on a number of these cars, because it looks like not everyone has decided to change tires. They're keeping their old ones right the way through, and it's depending on how much life you've taken out of them from the start of the race. There's definitely going to be key throughout. At the moment, Barry leads out a small little train as he's lost that run to Andrew Earls ahead.
Yeah, and on the inside, we've got Jason Park continuing to follow along behind Pete Mejia. David Bush third in behind them, so that little battle there for the third and final podium spot still going on the inside, folks. We want to cover as much action as we can. Thanks to Mr. Producer Man Rob Campbell for getting all these action shots.
Rob going and showing off what he can do, and I think we got to get him a little bit of satsi at the end of this, maybe a bit of sushi. But I know the sights and sounds of Mount Fuji, absolutely amazing to go and be racing around the circuit. A track, I've got to say, very underutilized by a number of categories and really fits the GT3 as it's a rhythm-based circuit. Lots of high-speed corners, as we do see Jimenez on the inside of James Hand, gets it done and dusted, and the Porsche a lot later on the brakes.
Yeah, I don't think James Hand saw that coming at all. What a superb move by Cesar Jimenez. We take a look at Pete Mejia. Pete Mejia having a great battle here with Jason Park. Colin McKenzie loving seeing that, because Colin McKenzie is just saying, yeah, you guys battle back behind me. It gives me a little bit of breathing space. Pete Mejia, Jason Park continuing to battle on here. And right now, this is as good an action as you're going to see in GT3 racing between these drivers.
With under 7 minutes remaining, expect to see drivers decide to be postman patters. Jason Park looked for the inside, second guess at Pete Mejia, held the line, said not going to happen, and David Bush was able to close up the distance. It is nose to tail racing right towards the end, and who has got enough in the tank to move forward? Jason Park sweeping around. Pete Mejia once again very defensive, holds the middle line. Park trying to see if he can get the drive in and out through the corners. The Riot Ferrari hoping to do everything possible, but Pete Mejia holding the line. Doug Evans, a little bit of no man's land at the moment, trying to move his way up. He landed up with a little bit of problems for the 41. Lighten up over the curbs and swings around. We've seen this once before. And what a back. Unfortunately, not quite having an easy drive out of the final corner.
Yeah, here we go down the straightaway, though. This battle for fourth. It's no longer a battle for third. Colin McKenzie's got a little bit of a gap now, but Pete Mejia trying to break the draft of Jason Park behind him, and David Bush the third, and behind them, they're coming up here. And right now, Pete Mejia going real defensive, tight inside line. Jason Park, if he wants it, he's going to have to go around the outside. Doesn't have the battle closed here now. Pete Mejia late on the brakes. Jason Park cuts up the inside. Ooh, almost a little bit of contact. Jason Park having to get out of it. That lets David Bush the third get right up there.
Thought about it, didn't want to be postman Pat there, decided he's going to wait it out. Sean Provost also trying to get a position, looks down the inside into turn one. The Ferrari's able to get it done, and understeers out as well. That's gone and fouled them up, but Sean managing to stay alive at this stage of the game. But can he keep it going, as it's Felix Feliz up on the inside, the two of them door to door, and right behind is a huge fight with a great drive. Caleb Silner on the 78 trying to see where he can make up a bit of time. Felix Feliz managing to get the pass done and dusted. Both cars going out, and a near miss. Felix Feliz nearly going into the back of Silner after losing control of the car. 4 minutes and 32 seconds to go. Not quite what you want to have. Now trying to turn the car around.
Yeah, Felix Feliz having a nightmare of a race. He's seen him several times this season, and in past seasons having great races. Take a look at this action here with Felix Feliz earlier on. Caleb Sellner kind of getting involved here as well. And right now we go a little bit further back, or a little further on into this event, and Felix Feliz, a little bit of neck coat it looked like, and the back end started to come around before the cars were within a foot of each other. You know what, I want to make a comment though. Caleb Sellner, solid effort from him. I believe that may be one of his better finishing or better placings right now. He's up 12 positions up to 17th, so solid job by him. Back to live action though. Pete Mejia currently fourth and doing a good job, still holding off Jason Park. With Colin McKenzie, second and 3/4 up ahead. Loving these guys battling. Keep battling, guys. Pete, hold them off, because I really want a podium.
It's going to be a great one. Pete Mejia currently second in class. I've got to say, Caleb Sellner, when he watches this back, is definitely going to be taking a deep breath and seeing that 3 of the 9 lives of a cat's been used just by not having a Mustang going into the back of him. But some great racing, but drivers with 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Jason Park now needing to pull the pin on the hand grenade here to try and get past. And he is absolutely fighting tooth and nail to see if he can get around this Porsche. Pete Mejia making it as wide as possible. The 992 now suddenly becoming a Carrera trying to make it a 4x4, widen the car out as much as possible, see if he can hold the line. Colin McKenzie with no pressure from behind, but it is a huge run for Jason Parker. Now David Bush third into the slipstream, has got the drive. Newsom into the lead ahead of Tyler Cato, but David Bush has got a solid run, not moving off the back. Instead, maybe looking at a possible bump draft, actually comes off the gas, wants to try and wait until turn one, lifts a little bit. But what a run, and oh, David very late on the brakes is able to close that distance and only narrowly misses the back of Park's car.
Yeah, all that said, Pete Mejia had a little issue getting out of that corner. That caused Jason Park to back up, and that let Pete Mejia get over a second gap now to Jason Park and Dave Bush third. Dave Bush third, one of the drivers who managed, he's still running that Lambo, folks, so he didn't make the switch to Porsche like a bunch of other drivers. That Dave Bush third, always representing a Lamborghini quite well. Take a look back here, the SRT cars. Caleb Lehman in 10th, Andy Mills, a solid effort in 9th. Andy Mills, our top AM, so Andy Mills, a leading teammate in the pro category, Caleb Lehman right now.
Just going and having a bit of fun, the SRT team in radio communication, that's for certain. Andy Mills just saying, listen, Caleb, don't outbrake yourself. Please, for heavens, do not outbrake yourself. Rob Jeffries pulling into the pits, and that is a completely unplanned pit stop on his part. Unfortunately, going to throw him down the field as he tries to get himself going. Travis Newsom going and starting his last lap. Tyler on the back of him. It has been the I-75 Motorsports leading the field for the race, and so far, both drivers more than happy to keep going. Not too much pressure from behind, and a 15-second gap to third place. Early pull away has really worked in their favor.
Yeah, and on the inside, we got Herbert Pineda following along behind James Hand. Herbert Pineda on the recovery run, dropped all the way down to 37th, up to 13th. Heck of a run back. Herbert Pineda diving up the inside. Is he going to get that move done on James Hand? Right now, he's just a nose ahead. A little battle of braking here. James Hand slowly, no, Herbert Pineda getting that job done right now. Did he outbrake himself? No, it looks like Herbert Pineda. Nice clean pass on James Hand.
Absolutely amazing stuff as timer ticks over. Everyone getting told this is the last lap to make it work. The I-75 leads out the field. David Bush III holds on to third place in the GT3 Pro class, still fighting against Jason Park ahead of him. Pete Mejia opening up the distance, having a solid run, and it looks like David Bush trying to make up that little bit of time with the last couple of corners he's got on hand. But it's going to be Travis Newsom who's rounding out the final corner, going to be more than happy on a solid effort, leads it out his teammate Newsom, more than happy to walk away with a checkered flag here. It is going to be Travis Newsom with Tyler Cato right on the back of him as they head down towards the start-finish line, and it's Tyler Cato that got the victory over Newsom. Drag race to the end and robbing his teammate by 0.023 of a second.
Yeah, what's this race over? I'd like to see a little replay of that corner exit and that race down the straightaway and see if there was some plan there or if they were racing for the win. But solid effort for the I-75 Motorsports team. We take a look at Andy Mills coming across 9th. That's going to put Caleb Lehman in 10th.
Still arrive for McKenzie taking first in the Pro-Am class. Mejia and Park will follow up in second and third, as we see Neil Alexander having it one last go. Jack Polyak ahead of him. It's nose to tail between the two of them, but it looks like Jack has got the run. Incredibly long straight, and who's going to have the drag race down to the line? I do think the BMW is going to eke out ahead. Andrew Ills currently in 26th position, trying to see if he can move forward with Barry Cochran ahead of him. Barry holds a solid defensive line, not going to allow the McLaren through at the moment. And what a drive from these competitors, and what a race it has become, with everyone fighting down to the line. Andy Mills wins out the GT3 AM class with Jimenez in second place, and a stellar run on his part. David Morse will take third in the GT3 AM class.
Andy Mills 9th overall. Solid effort. We take a look here. Dale Peterson Riot Motorsports driver coming across down the straightaway, 32nd place.
Absolutely incredible time, and for week 6 done and dusted. Number of drivers going to be more than happy on their finishing position, and you can see a couple of drivers wanting to do a little bit of a burnout now that it's the end of the race. And Tyler having a solid time out there first and robbed his teammates of that win right at the end, throws the car around, and unfortunately looks like he dinged the front as well.
That wasn't the best burnout, was it? That was pretty sad, Tyler. Come on, man. You got a victory.
With that being said, a solid run by our drivers. And let's take a look at the results and see who finished where in our provisionals here at Fuji Speedway for week 6. Say goodbye to Japan soon. But it's Tyler Kato that holds first place, with Travis Newsom in second place. Dave Bush III holds third, with Jay Staffy, Caleb Lehman, Herbert Padina, Matt Sheriff, and William Fenton rounding out our top 8 of our GT3 Pro.
And GT3 Pro-Am, we had Colin McKenzie, Lane Pipe Lunatics driver. He got first place. Pete Mejia, solid effort in second. Then we had Jason Park. These guys battled hard. He got third place. Forseb Goche, fifth James Hand, Kevin Berquist, Sean Provo, Jacques Polyak rounding out the top 8.
And looking towards our AM class, it is Andy Mills ahead of Cesar Jimenez. David Morse holds on to third place. It's SRT at the front end with a breakaway with the I-75. Caleb Silner holds on fourth with Neil Alexander, Marcus Gaddy, Justin Walsh, Barry Cochran, Chris Lund, and Dave Jensen rounding out our top 10. A solid.
That was some exciting racing there as we take a look at the lead drivers here. The I-75 Motorsports team dominating tonight.
That is a great start to finish for them, and honestly, it's going to be an interesting one to have a chat to the teammates. And Tyler Kato to join us in the box. Tyler, welcome. And what a race out there. A simple follow the leader and then going and taking the win away from Travis right at the line.
Well, he kind of just gave it to me. To be honest, it was strategical for points, and that was the only reason we did that.
Well, you made it a close finish, I gotta say. How was it out there on a blistering hot circuit, 44 degrees at the start? It must have been rather slick.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting around there. I would have preferred, a little more traction, but I held it on the track, stayed behind Travis, and we just pulled away from everyone.
And I'm sure the communication between the two of you were back and forward. Was there ever a thought of, let me try and see if I can get a solid run and try get past a little bit earlier in the race? Or was it just, let's follow leader, let's not have any moments between the two of us? And obviously with very close calls heading into turn 1 towards the later part of the race.
Well, I wish I could say that I would have loved to pull beside him a lot more, but I just could not break the toe. It was just I just kept staying 5/10 behind every lap. I just couldn't improve. And then eventually I got a run on him, I think after we pit, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it, and he didn't defend, so we just traded positions for a little bit.
With that being said, looking towards the end of the championship, what's the game plan to go and hold on to the top of our GT3 Pro standing here at Throttle Freaks?
Just keep it on track, keep it in the top 5, I hope. That's all I can pray for. Now that the Porsche has gotten a little boost, maybe we can keep it up here more consistently.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, before we let you go to enjoy the celebration and also going and beating out the teammate by a nose hair, anything you'd like to say to the drivers, teams, all here in Throttle Freaks, and also to the virtual grandstand of the Racer Nexus?
Yep. Thanks to Throttle Freaks. Thanks to Racer Nexus. Thanks to everyone that allows me to do this. Friends, family, and all the racers on the track are insanely fast. So great competition. It's really fun racing here.
Great stuff, Tyler. Well done on the victory and that stellar run to the line. Don't think you can even get closer, even if you tried. What a drive.
Thank you.
Tyler having a great one out there. But Richard, now to have a chat to his teammate that got pipped at the line.
Travis, congratulations on a great team victory tonight.
Yeah, man, thank you.
That was a solid effort from you and Tyler. You guys gave us a little fright there. We thought we were going to see a little almost Lando Norris on Oscar Piastri at Montreal there a little later in the race. A little late on the brakes there.
There's a couple times where, you know, I think just dirty air, like when we would switch, our braking points were different. So the air wasn't on the nose of the car or the rear of the car. So we got into ABS just immediately and almost hit each other like twice.
Well, that said, the I-75 Motorsports team, I mean, you guys, solid effort from all your drivers tonight. And how'd you decide on the move over there at the end, or to make it a very close finish, shall we say? Was that just letting Tyler have that for the season championship? Or?
Yeah, essentially, I missed the first race. I couldn't do it, and he did. He's done consistently well, like this entire time, and he's higher up essentially than I am. So, I mean, 1-2 is not that big of a deal. If he can have a couple extra points and clinch the win for the championship, that's better. You know, I'm missing an entire race, so it's I trying to race with friends.
I was wondering when I saw it. I'm like, I think he let him have it, but I'm not sure. But Tyler,
he was sweet talking me at the end. Yeah, he was sweet talking. I said, all right, man.
He Venmo'd you $20 just as he got the white flag, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I guess I could lift a little bit. But next week with Brands Hatch, that's going to be a little crazy there if we get a 40-car field. But I think the Porsche could do pretty well there.
Yeah, I think since they changed the BOP, it's kind of favored us. I feel like the first couple races hasn't really been in the Porsche's favor in terms of pace, but I mean, tonight was a little bit easier, it felt.
Well, you guys certainly made it look easy. Anybody like to give a shout out to tonight, Travis?
Tyler, everybody in I-75. He makes the liveries that everyone likes so much. You know, everyone who's watching, you guys for putting on the event. League racing is better than official racing, so I appreciate it.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, Travis. Congratulations on everything you accomplished tonight, you and your team, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stellar run there, but let's have a chat to third place, David Bush the third. How are you feeling after that race? I don't think there was a single point where you were by yourself and weren't having a car trying to dive you on the inside, the outside, and seeing where they can get round the Lamborghini.
Yeah, this week I didn't have it in my plans to have so much excitement. Going into the race, I knew that Josh wasn't going to be here tonight, so my plan was just to get as many points as I could on Josh because he's the point leader, and things escalated quite quickly at the start of the race there.
I'll take us through it because it was ongoing battle left, right, and center. You having to try and make the Lamborghini twice the size that it is just to fight it out. I mean, it must have been rather exciting, but unfortunately your teammate was just legging it away from you.
Yeah, I mean, from the start of the race, I wasn't going to jeopardize either of our runs, but the goal was just to put myself into position to hold the guys back as long as I could. And once I felt like I had used up all my luck when we went into the hairpin, and it ended up being 3 wide by the time we got to the apex. And I don't think we were going to make it 3 wide through the chicane part of it. So I'm glad that we managed to straighten it out. And from then on, I was like, I'm just going to run whatever pace I've got, and if the guys end up catching me, I'm just gonna tuck in behind them and see if they make any mistakes, and if so, I'll pounce on it. But I never really had a chance to go for anything there towards the end.
Well, you had a great drive and kept us on our toes. Looking forward to Brands Hatch. How do you feel now that you're taking the momentum of a third place in your class?
I feel great. I think I enjoy Brands Hatch. As far as I'm aware, the last time I was there, the Lambo was good at Brands Hatch. So hopefully I can carry that momentum into the next week.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Before we let you go to enjoy the celebration and calm down after all the massive fights throughout the race, anything you would like to say to all the drivers and teams that joined you here tonight at Throttle Freaks, and also to the virtual grandstands cheering you on week after week?
As always, massive shout out to you guys at Racer Nexus. I appreciate all the broadcast work that you guys do. The admins at Throttle Freaks for putting on this fantastic league that we keep coming back to every week, and big shout out to the Lunatic guys. The whole team is doing pretty well throughout this season so far. Let's hopefully keep it up.
Great stuff. David Bush third on a stellar run to go and capture third place in the GT3 Pro. That being said, Richard, we move on to our Pro-Am, and it is the little Acura that managed to get to the top. Colin McKenzie.
Yeah, Fuji's such
Colin, congratulations. That was a solid drive tonight.
Hey, thank you guys. What a race. A lot of luck, but ended up pulling it out in the end, so very happy with it.
Yeah, we've managed to talk to you a couple of times of late, and that's something we weren't doing too much earlier this season or in seasons past. What's been the big turnaround for you?
I think just being confident in my racecraft. I think I was putting a little too much pressure on myself, especially last season, early in the season, and then I came back really strong when I was just running my own race. So I was really happy with tonight's results, especially in qualifying, and then basically the heavens kind of opened up for me and was able to just kind of keep my head down. So I was really happy with that. The results going to really help me moving forward as well.
Yeah, I mean, late in the race or with the mid race, you Pete Mejia, teammate David Bush, and Jason Parker really were battling it out. But you must have been real happy when you saw Pete, David, and Jason start battling out behind you even more so, letting you get that little bit of a gap and ease the tension a little bit.
Yeah, it was huge. Big shout out to Pete tonight. He was laser quick in that Porsche, and when he got really close towards that pit stop, got a little bit nervous. But then coming out, I was able to kind of get a nice gap. But then when Jason came out the next lap over and basically cut him off, I knew I was in pretty good hands here because that group would start fighting. And all I just had to do was run my own race. And then that gap started opening up, and really the pressure started falling off. But I still couldn't really give up an inch.
Oh, that's for sure. Hey, since we've got you in here, Colin, if I'm not mistaken, you do the liveries for the team. I want to talk a little bit about the liveries you've been representing the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we at Lunatic like to do, our part trying to raise awareness. So April is Autism Awareness Month. I have some really good friends who run the Boston Marathon for the cause as well. And so we like to support and with the puzzle pieces as well. So hopefully they showed pretty well on the broadcast. And hopefully the next one will be coming here pretty soon.
Yeah, well, they're showing really well right now, and the team showed them off real well. On behalf of Racer Nexus, I'd like to thank you and the rest of the Throttle Freaks crews for all you do to put on this great racing event week after week, season after season. You guys are doing it right, and shout out to you guys. But anybody you'd like to thank or give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, definitely the boys over at Lunatic who just, push each other and just make each other better racers every week. Shout out to everybody who shows up for the races. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you for the kind words, but no one will see this if it wasn't for you guys and the great broadcast you guys put on. So we really appreciate you guys partnering up with us since the inception of Throttle Freaks, and hopefully many more seasons to go.
Sounds great, Colin. Maybe we'll talk to you next week after Brands Hatch. Let's see.
We'll see.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you next week. Well, now in the booth, we have the man, Mr. Pete Mejia. Pete, heck of a stellar drive tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was missed a couple of weeks, so it's good to be back.
And when you came back with a vengeance. The Porsche and Pete Mejia seemed to be a good match together.
Well, I think the BOP helped a little bit, but yeah, I didn't have to change cars. So yeah, it fit. Definitely fits.
Yeah, it certainly had some good results overall here at FUJI. But man, that battle you had earlier on with Colin and David, Very intense, very clean, respectable racing. And then Jason Park got in the mix too. How'd you stay so composed through all those laps of hard battling?
Yeah, I wasn't composed. Heart rate was definitely up for sure. I was trying to just stay with Colin, and Park had a great overlap on the pit. Caught me off guard. I didn't expect him to be right there with us when he came out, and I got in a real big mix with him, and it kind of slowed me down a little bit and let Colin eke away. I think I could have passed Colin, maybe. I was just biding my time, but then that scrap with Park really, just wore the tires out and wore me out. So that was it.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking to Colin just before you, and he saw you, and we were asking him actually if he was relieved to see that little battle with Jason and yourself behind you, and it certainly relieved his tensions. But next week we're off to Brands Hatch. How do you think you're going to do there? You done much practice for that event?
No, not at all. But I'll try to get some practice in. I'll be at Laguna Seca this week for IMSA, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be another short week, but the Brands Hatch qualifying's key. Hard to pass there, so we'll see how it plays out.
Hard to pass with a big field, and it's going to be eventful for sure. Anyhow, congratulations. Anybody you'd like to shout out tonight, Pete?
Yeah, just my wife and kids, all my friends at Logitech that support me and that watch tonight, and I hope they enjoyed the show.
Well, I'm sure they did. You certainly put on a good one. We'll see you next week, Pete.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely great stuff. That being said, let's start a riot with Jason Park going and capturing third place. Jason, how are you feeling after that race? You were in a fight left, right, and center, and that must have kept you quite on your toes.
Yeah, my heart rate was going crazy. I was shaking. I'm sweating still. That was a lot of fun. Pete, he did a really good job making his car wide and difficult to get around him.
Now, I've got to ask, where did you feel the Ferrari was making up time? Because it looked like you were quite quick on the brakes. You were really late on the anchors to try and see if you can get the pass. Unfortunately, just not able to look around to get past around Pete. But it must have been great to go and slug it out with the rest of the competition.
Yeah, 100%. I think I felt pretty good in the last sector. I found if I was pretty patient on throttle, I found it was a little bit quicker. So, I just kind of played around with that, being a little bit more patient, and I felt like I was gaining ground on Pete through the last sector there, but I just couldn't get it done.
And with that being said, heading to Brands Hatch, how's the confidence feeling now that you managed to capture third in the Pro-Am standings?
I've never raced it in a GT3, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully I can have some time to put some laps in before the race.
Well, it's going to be a great one, and I look forward to having a chat to you come next week. But before you go and enjoy the celebrations, calm down and try and pry the hands off the steering wheel after the amazing battles, anything you would like to say to the drivers and teams joining you here at Throttle Freaks and also out to the virtual grandstands who are cheering you on?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for anybody watching. Thanks to the guys on Riot and you guys as well. You guys put on a great show every week. And I always spend time watching the broadcast afterwards.
Great stuff. Jason Park, congratulations on the third place and well done on representing Riot Motorsports. Absolutely great stuff to see him charging all the way to the top. But Richard, that being said, you've managed to catch up with our first in the AMS.
Not only our first in the AMS, also P9 and a top 10 overall for Andy Mills. Congratulations, Andy.
Oh, hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
That was a solid drive. I mean, you had a good qualifying effort. Qualified, I believe, 14th. It moved up 5 positions. And you held your own against some really, really fast competitors. In Seb Gauthier, Caleb Bleeman, Jay Steffi. You're battling it up with the pros and the pro-ams and doing great.
Yeah, those are the toughest guys. I got to say, my quali was a mess, a total wreck. I had 2 things happen. I was going around nice. I spun on maybe 14 or something like that and got a little damage and had to head back to the pits. So that was after warming up the tires, so I had to warm them up again, and I managed to get a good lap in there. But as I was trying to get that good lap in there, I lost a bolt in my seat on my rig, and I had the seat going up and down. So after I finished quali, I quickly grabbed the hex tool and I got it back in there, and all was well. But when we went down for the first turn in the race, I was sweating, but mostly from being nervous.
Didn't know if that bolt was going to let go and send you off into the cornfields there.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
Yeah,
the SRT team is solid effort tonight. You're representing SRT. Are you SRT white or SRT green? Actually,
I'm green. I'm green with
You're
Jack.
green.
And
Here we
Chris.
go. We're showing your car on the screen, but you've got so many of you you're battling amongst that it's hard to pick out. What do you think you're going to do at Brands Hatch? How do you think you're going to do? You done much prep for that?
No, I haven't done any prep. I just learned Fuji. I think I started on Thursday, but the SRT guys, man, awesome. Shout out to them. We really put a couple good practices in, a lot of laps, really learned that well. The Porsche was good there. I felt good there. Obviously, with those last few turns, it's just about really not losing the back end with that rear motor.
Yeah, after 15, that little stint between 15 and 16 can really get it swinging around on you if you're not careful.
Yeah, and I had Caesar chasing me down, and I was trying to stay ahead of him and trying to stay with the pack ahead of me with, these guys like Seb and Jay and Jason. And that was a really fun battle. I was able to stay with them a long time and keep Caesar behind. I don't know where he lost time, because he must have lost time in the pits. He was within a second of me. But I think I finished maybe 2 seconds ahead of him, or a couple seconds ahead of him by the end of the race, maybe 5 seconds. So
yeah, you picked up about 4.5 seconds in from cone to cone in the pits. So you definitely had things dialed in kind of everywhere tonight. I mean, your timing in the pits was as good as anybody. So solid effort. We look forward to seeing what you can do next week. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Oh, just before I say that, you may want to wait on practicing till Thursday based on how well it worked for you this week. So
good tip.
I suggest take tomorrow off.
Yeah.
And wait till Thursday because it seems to be your secret.
You know what, Richard? I honestly feel like that's part of it. If you overthink some of this stuff, I think that you can. It's like golf. You can't have too many swing thoughts in your head.
I know that.
Yeah, so you got to take it easy. You gotta do it at the right time and pace yourself. So I'll be ready for Brands Hatch. Unfortunately, I'll miss Adelaide after it, which is a bummer because I love that track. But yeah, I'll give a couple shout outs just to the SRT boys. Really awesome to get trained up with them, and it's been so much fun racing with them this year. Our cars look great, so it's a great departure from my old livery. But also the wife and kids, awesome that they let me do this, and they're cheering me on. So and to you guys, thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks guys.
A great race and a great time at Fuji. Richard, any final thoughts from your side as we say farewell to Japan, hop on a plane and fly off to the UK to head over to round 7 at Brands Hatch?
It's going to be a big difference in racetracks next week. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
That's going to be a great one. And massive shout out to Throttle Freaks. If you're interested in joining, feel free to get in touch with all the admins from myself, Stephen Koenig, from Richard Swindells, and our producer, Rob Campbell. A big shout out to Apex Sim Racing and Track Cams Gourmet for all the angles you get to see here tonight. And we look forward to seeing you guys out at Brands Hatch. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and like always, folks, it's a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.